Welcome to another village guide for Necesse. Today we are going to learn about farming, animal husbandry, and cooking to max out the benefits your villagers can provide you in Necesse. Now let's get into it. Creating farmland. To get us started, we're going to need a lot of farmland for our villagers to work. You can make farmland plots for 5 logs each at the workstation. We will need large plots for each plant type to be able to get enough resources to maintain all the crafting that's going to be happening, so let's cut down a whole load of tree. Now that we have a bunch of wood, we need to get those farm plots crafted. Let's make 50 of them, and then make 2 5x5 plots for our farming needs. Now let's press C on the keyboard, select zones, fertilize zone, and designate our fields as fertilized zones by dragging a new zone over each field. Don't worry, we will get farm workers later, we are just setting this up for now. Next up, let's get wheat planted on both of them. We will need the wheat to feed animals and make flour at the grain mill. The grain mill can be crafted at the workstation, so make sure you build one after you plant your crops. Wheat seeds can be found in the forest cave or by harvesting your fully grown wheat. Next, let's place a chest in between the fields. Open the chest and click the green house button to add the chest to the settlement inventory. Doing this allows villagers to add and remove items from the chest. Next, click the cog on the right and designate what this chest is for. Let's disable everything but seeds by selecting the corresponding item boxes. Let's make another chest and designate it for wheat only and put it just outside our farmland space. We will build a grain mill next to it later. Wow, look at that! Your first fields are ready to go. Now let's go get ourselves a farmer to tend the fields. Recruiting and housing villagers. We can find a farmer to recruit by traveling the game world and visiting other villages. When we find a farmer, we can ask him to join our settlement in their dialogue menu, and they will give us their conditions to join us. Once you find the items and payment they want, have them join you and head home. Villagers have some basic needs. These are food, a bed, and some basic furnishings in their domicile to keep them contented. Let's start by building a house for our villager. If you don't have one yet, a 5x5 building interior is good enough for these villagers. Once that is done, craft a carpentry table and make a bed using wool. If you want to avoid killing all the sheep on your map, I advise making some shears at the workstation for 2 iron bars. Place the bed, a torch, a table, and a chair in the villager's home. The only required furniture is the bed, but they will be happier if you decorate a bit more. You can check a villager's mood by opening a dialogue with them and selecting how are you feeling. Next, recruit a hunter and give them a similar housing space. They will handle our food situation early on. The Work tab. It's time to get this villager to work. Let's open the settlement menu by selecting C on the keyboard and opening the work priorities menu on the right. Here, we can designate what tasks villagers will do and which tasks are more important. Upward arrows means it is of greater importance, downward arrows means it is of lesser importance. A blank box means the villager will not perform the task, and a gray box means the villager cannot perform this task at all. Let's make farming the greatest importance to our new farming villager, and set hunting as most important to our hunter. Now we can close the menu. Farming will now happen automatically in your base so long as the farmers have seeds and the farmer is happy. Because you already created the farm fields, we won't have to worry about seeds for wheat again so long as we put seeds in the box already. The grain mill. Remember the grain mill I told you about before? It's time to get it built so we can turn our new wheat into flour. Navigate to where you put the wheat chest and build a grain mill next to it. You can craft a grain mill at the workstation for wool, wood, and iron. Once you have built the grain mill, open up its menu and select the green button to add it to the settlement's available buildings for villagers to use. This is the automation menu. In this menu, we can place bills for what we want villagers to craft at this building. Let's select flour and change the crafting frequency to forever or at least just 100. Next, let's build a new building to store our food and do our cooking in. Cooking automation. Welcome to the cooking automation section of this video. Boy, we have done a lot already, but there's still a lot more to do. Let's build a 10x5 building and place a chest inside. Add it to your settlement's available chests and change the allowed storage to only allow consumables, specifically raw food. But disable wheat storage, we want to keep that near the grain mill. Let's make another chest the same way and limit its storage to food only. This way our villagers will store the cooked meals here. Next, let's build a campfire and add it to our settlement. After that, let's build a roasting spit on top of it. Let's create an order to keep 10 of each cooked meat at all times so our villagers have food to eat while we develop our base. When you get further in the game, craft a tungsten workstation and build a cooking station and set it up to automate bread production. You will still need the wheat to feed animals, so don't worry, your fields are still important. Animal husbandry is the next section of our video. I would recommend recruiting an animal keeper, but you will only be able to get one after defeating the Void Wizard. So for now, this is manual. If you have defeated the Void Wizard, congrats, go get that animal keeper. For the rest of you, keep following along. It's time to build some new gated communities to house our future farm animals. Go ahead and craft a bunch of fencing at the workstation and fence gate as well, and get some rope. You can buy rope from a farmer or a traveling merchant. You will need rope to lead animals, and one rope can only lead one animal at a time, so get a couple of them. Now that we have our fence and gate crafted, let's build 3 medium fenced-in areas to house our future animal friends. We can now go ahead to the Assign Work tab and set the animal zone over the fenced areas. Next, we can open up the Work Priorities tab and set our rancher to prioritize this work type. Next, let's get some animals. Get your rope and grab some wild cows and sheep, or grab a pile of gold and head out to the nearest village to buy some animals. We want to get sheep, cows, and chickens, so we have a good range of resources coming in. We can also build an egg nest to hatch chicken eggs in the animal zone so we don't run out of chickens. You will need to have both male and female chickens for this to work. We already made a chest earlier to store the food products, so we don't need to do it here. This will all be handled automatically. Next, let's make sure we can manage the population of animals in our field and slaughter accordingly. Hit C on the keyboard and open the Assign Work tab. Mouse over the husbandry zone and right-click to configure. Let's set the animals limit to 20 and reduce the male limit to 30%. Do this for each animal zone. You can set the number lower for chickens, and you can set the male number higher for sheep because male sheep just have more wool. Finally, you will need to be able to feed your animals. The best way to do this is to place feeding troughs in your pens and add them to the settlement so that your animal handler can take care of it when you get one. Other than that, you can also carry wheat and right-click on any animal to feed them by hand. Look at that, you're becoming an automation king. Let's keep the train rolling. At this point, you have automated egg, milk, meat, and grain, and flour production as well as wool. You're on a roll. Using what you learned here, you can automate any food you like in the kitchen, get more variety of crops in your fields, and more. Keep an eye out on what recipes give different benefits and adjust your farming automation to help you get the best results. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, hit subscribe. If you have more questions, come join our Discord link below. I will see you in the next installment of our Necesse New Player Guide.